According to the National Electrical Code, the grounding electrode system for a house should include one or more grounding rods driven into the earth. However, it is also permissible to connect the grounding electrode conductor to a metal underground water pipe. The water pipe you mentioned is an acceptable grounding electrode as long as it meets certain requirements. Firstly, it is made of metal, either copper or galvanized steel, and is at least 1/2 inch in diameter. Secondly, it is buried in the ground for at least 10 feet. Thirdly, it is connected to the electrical system at a point where the pipe is exposed to the earth. Therefore, as long as the water pipe you described meets these requirements, it is still acceptable as a grounding electrode. You do not need to have the wire go directly to a grounding rod or the base of the water meter pipe. It's important to understand the role of grounding in an electrical system. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, which helps to quickly trip a circuit breaker or blow a fuse, thereby protecting people and equipment from electrical shock and damage. The grounding electrode system is a critical part of this process. It's connected to the electrical panel and serves as a reference point for the electrical system, ensuring that the voltage potential between the grounded conductors and the earth is close to 0 volts. This helps to prevent dangerous voltage differences that could cause electrical shock. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. These requirements are designed to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. Article 250 of the NEC covers grounding and bonding, and it specifies the types of grounding electrodes that are permitted, as well as the methods for connecting them to the electrical system. In addition to grounding rods and metal water pipes, other acceptable grounding electrodes include metal and ground support structures such as building foundations and ground rings, which are buried bare copper conductors that encircle a building. When using a metal water pipe as a grounding electrode, it's essential to ensure that the pipe is electrically continuous. This means that there should be no insulating couplings or other discontinuities in the pipe that could interrupt the flow of fault current. If there are any such discontinuities, they must be bonded around with a bonding jumper. A bonding jumper is a conductor that is used to connect 2 or more metal parts together to ensure electrical continuity. It's typically made of copper or aluminum and is sized according to the requirements of the NEC. The NEC also requires that a supplemental grounding electrode, such as a grounding rod, be installed in addition to the metal water pipe. This provides an additional path for fault current to return to the source in case the water pipe becomes disconnected or corroded. The supplemental grounding electrode must be located as close as practicable to the water pipe and must be connected to the grounding electrode conductor with a bonding jumper. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors. Table 250.66 in NEC provides guidance on the appropriate size of the grounding electrode conductor based on the size of the service entrance conductors. The grounding electrode conductor must be installed in a protected manner to prevent damage. It can be run in conduit or cable armor, or it can be installed directly on the surface of the building structure. If the grounding electrode conductor is exposed to physical damage, it must be protected by a suitable guard. It's important to note that the NEC is a minimum standard, and local jurisdictions may have additional requirements for grounding and bonding. It's always a good idea to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that your electrical installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. When installing a grounding electrode system, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and to use approved materials and equipment. All connections must be made with approved connectors and must be properly tightened to ensure a good electrical connection. It's also important to protect the grounding electrode system from corrosion. Grounding rods and metal water pipes can corrode over time, which can reduce their effectiveness as grounding electrodes. To prevent corrosion, it's recommended to use corrosion-resistant materials and to protect the grounding electrodes from moisture and chemicals. In addition to the grounding electrode system, the NEC also requires that all metal enclosures and equipment be properly bonded. Bonding is the process of connecting all metal parts together to create a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. This helps to prevent voltage differences between metal parts, which could cause electrical shock. The NEC specifies the types of bonding conductors that are permitted, as well as the methods for connecting them to metal enclosures and equipment. Bonding conductors must be sized according to the requirements of the NEC and must be installed in a protected manner to prevent damage. It's important to note that grounding and bonding are two distinct but related concepts. Grounding provides a connection to the earth, while bonding provides a connection between metal parts. Both grounding and bonding are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. When troubleshooting electrical problems, it's important to check the grounding and bonding system to ensure that it is properly installed and maintained. A loose or corroded grounding or bonding connection can cause a variety of electrical problems, including electrical shock, equipment damage, and fire. If you suspect that there is a problem with your grounding or bonding system, it's recommended to consult with a qualified electrician to have it inspected and repaired. Grounding to a water pipe is an acceptable practice according to the NEC, but it's important to ensure that the water pipe meets the requirements outlined in the code. The pipe must be metal, at least 1/2 inch in diameter, buried in the ground for at least 10 feet, and connected to the electrical system at a point where it is exposed to the earth. Additionally, a supplemental grounding electrode, such as a grounding rod, must be installed in addition to the water pipe. It's also important to ensure that the water pipe is electrically continuous and that there are no insulating couplings or other discontinuities that could interrupt the flow of fault current. If there are any such discontinuities, they must be bonded around with a bonding jumper. The grounding electrode conductor must be sized according to the requirements of the NEC and must be installed in a protected manner to prevent damage. If you have any questions or concerns about your grounding system, it's always a good idea to consult with a qualified electrician. They can inspect your system and make recommendations for any necessary repairs or upgrades. In Florida, the requirements for grounding electrical systems are the same as those outlined in the National Electrical Code. However, local jurisdictions may have additional requirements, so it's always a good idea to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that your electrical installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before making any changes to your electrical system. Proper grounding is crucial for the safety of your home and family. By following the requirements of the NEC and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your electrical system is properly grounded and protected from electrical hazards. Also remember that the water meter itself should not be used as the primary grounding point. The connection should be made to the water pipe before the meter to ensure reliable ground even if the meter is removed or replaced. Furthermore, because water meters are often made of plastic these days, plastic is not a conductive material, making it unsuitable for grounding. Always ensure the water pipe is made of a conductive metal like copper or galvanized steel. The connection point should be accessible for inspection and maintenance. A clamp approved for grounding purposes should be used to connect the grounding conductor to the water pipe. The surface of the pipe should be cleaned before attaching the clamp to ensure a good electrical connection. If the water pipe is located in a corrosive environment, the grounding connection should be protected from corrosion with a suitable coating or enclosure. Regularly inspect the grounding connection for signs of corrosion or damage. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately by a qualified electrician. Proper grounding protects against electrical shock, reduces the risk of fire, and helps to ensure the proper operation of electrical equipment. A well-grounded electrical system is a safer and more reliable electrical system.